Hey everyone, welcome to Nerds Talk. I'm Mike.
And I'm Chris.
And I'm James.
And today we're going to be doing our episode 7, right? That sound right? Episode 7 of our full Star Wars Saga review, where we're going through every single Star Wars movie chronologically in order for you, in order to review them. And then at the end, we like to do a fun little ranking on what we feel by majority, which movie's the best and which one's the worst. So with that being said, before we get into it, our episode today is sponsored by Casamade. Casamade is a great Canadian company that personalizes and custom vinyl creations. From our casa to your casa, their products are custom designed to meet your style and personality. Visit facebook.com/Casamade. That's facebook.com/CAZAMADE. Whether you're looking for something unique for yourself or a gift from someone else, Casamade has something for everyone. As you can see, they've done these awesome Star Wars mugs, and they do a bunch of other things. You can check their website out. If you're not a fan of Star Wars, they do DC, they do Marvel, they do Harry Potter, they do whatever you're into.
You can customize things. They can work with you to make it what you want.
Absolutely. So check it out. With that being said, we're going to get right into it. So if you haven't watched any of our videos before, I'll put a link up here, a couple of our previous episodes. I do recommend you watch through them if you like to kind of get our idea of each individual movie. But if not, the way we do this is we go quickly, non-spoilery, what we thought of the movie overall, if we liked it or didn't like it. Then we will get into a detailed plot synopsis where we discuss scene by scene, what we like, what we didn't like. And then at the end, we'll do a fun little ranking overall where we feel this fits in the timeline. So with that being said, I'll start this time. And I thought episode 5 was an awesome movie. Definitely different from episode 4.
Yeah.
It took a different turn. It was a different director. It wasn't done by George Lucas. So it was a different person there. And I believe a different writer. We had Lawrence Kasdan that was part writing on this. And it was an interesting movie. Very well done. I think box office out of the original 3, this did the worst because it was different.
Yeah.
But I think it's revered most from Star Wars fans as like one of the best Star Wars movies. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not, but I guess we'll find it as we dig into it. But I enjoyed it overall. Really cool. We got to see a lot more of the stuff that I like. Jedi, the Force, how that works, what it's about. We get some cool fight scenes from different characters. We get to see a little bit more of bounty hunters. We get a bunch of little cool things. So without going into spoilers, overall, I did enjoy this movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. We liked the movie. It again different than episode 4, which was nice. It feels a bit like a middle movie though. At the time, like you don't know, but I watched them all 3 of them, right?
Okay.
But it felt like when I rewatched them, it feels like it's a middle movie of a trilogy. But I like it nonetheless. Has lots of action, different planets, different atmosphere. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
There's parts of it that I loved. There's parts of it that felt like a filler type movie to get to the next part. Overall, I enjoyed it. It's not one of my favorites. It's not one, we'll figure that out at the end there. But, overall it was pretty good. But yeah, I could tell that it was they had parts where it was just a filler, but they still made the story decent.
I agree. All right, so let's dive right into the plot here. And this is a very, very condensed plot here. So we'll just kind of unpack it as we get through. So we'll start off here. 3 years after the destruction of the Death Star in episode 4. Oh, I guess I should say we are reviewing episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, is the official title of the movie. Yeah. So 3 years after the destruction of the Death Star, the Rebel Alliance, led by Princess Leia, has set up a new base on the ice planet of Hoth. The Imperial fleet, led by Darth Vader, continues to hunt for the new rebel base by dispatching probe droids across the galaxy. One of which probe droids lands on planet Hoth and is looking around. Luke Skywalker is captured while out on, I guess,
like a patrol.
Like a patrol maybe. Just kind of surveying kind of what's out there. Gets captured by a Wampa while investigating one such probe droid that shows up. But lucky for him, manages to escape from the Wampa's lair by using the Force and his lightsaber. Before Luke succumbs to hypothermic sleep, the Force spirit of his deceased mentor, Obi-Wan Kenobi, instructs him to go to Dagobah to train under Jedi Master Yoda. Han Solo locates Luke and manages to save him by splitting open his tauntaun and having him nestle inside to keep warm. The two are rescued by a search party the next morning.
And I thought, they smell bad
on the outside.
They smell bad on the outside. So, okay, it kind of just gets you, again, opening crawl, but jumps right in. Boom. Okay, 3 years have gone by. This is where we are right now. Luke's a big part of the Rebel Force. Leia's in the Rebel Force, and Han is stuck around after you know coming and saving Luke. Decides to kind of be part of it. He's part of the Rebels as well, and they're on this planet doing some stuff, research, you know, gathering their strength, whatever they're gonna do. At the same time, hiding from the remnants of the Empire fleet, which it turns out the Death Star wasn't the main force. That was just one of their big forces. They have a lot of Star Destroyers and a lot of other things. The Emperor is obviously located somewhere else.
Correct.
So Darth Vader's job is to kind of find them. The Wampa attack was a pretty cool scene. He's stuck upside down in the ice, and he uses the Force. We see him use it to kind of like, okay, years have passed. He's kind of, I guess, self-trained and whatever. He's able to call his lightsaber from him, which is stuck in ice, just in time to cut himself down and literally cut the Wampa's arm off. Kind of again, and a nice flashback to episode 4.
Yeah.
But when watching it most recently, they definitely had this scene a lot more extended. You saw a lot more blood. You saw him actually eating pieces of the Tauntaun, and kind of showed, I think, parts of him there. Like it was a lot more gory than it was shown in theaters, and I think it was because he wanted it to be more kids focused in the theaters, and now it's like, well, I don't need to hide anything. Let's just throw everything in there. So I thought that was cool. The Wampa came out pretty menacing. It was pretty big, and you know, Luke had to fight it off. And
they've seen a new creature as well.
Yep. Change it up. Different part of the world.
Yeah. Some
ice
planet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something different.
Just where you want to be when you want to go sand tanning.
You thought you hated sand.
Yeah.
Hate the boat.
Wait till you get the ice.
Okay, so we'll continue here. So meanwhile, the probe alerts before self-destructing. The probe alerts the Imperial fleet to the rebels' location. The Empire launches a large-scale attack using AT-AT walkers, which we see, well, technically for the second time as we go through this chronologically, but from viewer standpoint, if you watch the movies when they were first released, it's the first time you see these giant elephant walkers, these AT-ATs, these all-terrain armored transports.
Yeah.
Amazing, walking through, so huge. And their job is to capture the base, which forces the rebels to evacuate. So while they're standing around trying to take down these things, they all have to basically jump on the Millennium Falcon and get out as fast as they can. What is it here? Han and Leia escape with C-3PO and Chewbacca on the Millennium Falcon, but the ship's hyperdrive malfunctions. As you can see, they were doing repairs at Hoth.
Yeah.
So they decide to hide in an asteroid field where Han and Leia grow closer amidst tension and briefly kiss. Okay. So I'm gonna stop right there because it jumps really far ahead.
Yeah.
So they have this awesome scale battle in the snow. We get to see snow troopers. We get to see General Veers, AT-ATs. We have these giant turrets that are meant as their main defense against these things. They're having trouble taking them down, so they form up a squad of snow speeders. And do you remember who came up with the idea of like using the tow cables to like trip them? I don't know. I don't think it was Luke that first did it. I thought it was like Wedge or someone else that had used it and had the idea. And then they're like, okay, everyone use tow cables. And then everyone started doing it to trip the walkers. But
I thought it was Luke.
Was it Luke? Was he the first one to trip them?
I'm not entirely sure.
Or the first one to, I don't know. Either way, it was great. Like it was a great strategy, a great new way of like taking down something, you know, like just trip it. It's giant legs. Things are armored. Just trip it and let it fall and blow itself up. And then Luke kind of runs out there when his ship crashes and almost gets stepped on. Runs out there with his lightsaber, just connects the grappling hook, comes up, cuts a hole, throws a bomb in, and falls and boom, 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 boom. Like, this is so cool, man.
Yeah, that whole sequence of action is just phenomenal.
Yes.
You see these big beasts of machines come down, the AT-ATs.
Very intimidating.
I wanted that toy right away.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. It was like that's on my list to get. I need to play with this.
Yeah.
But
and the snow, like the guns that the snow speeders are shooting do nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
No, not this armor.
Which is great to see the difference looking back. Now Rogue One, the X-wings, fire some bombs at it and shoot it. And
which makes sense. They probably were improved upon.
Exactly.
As you see in the future movies that their guerrilla walkers are called are even more heavily fortified and stuff.
Exactly. So they've learned from the past mistakes, but to see those things come and just, this is the first time you really see the rebels lose. Right? They have to evacuate their base because they're overwhelmed by, these machines and the Star Destroyers and everything that is attacking them. This is the first time where it's like, oh man, they're starting the movie off and they're losing.
It's an interesting move. It sets the tone of the movie like, oh, this is not like how it's going to go. Like, it's like the good guys win. Like, the story, the bad guy, the underdog comes, the good guys win the day. And now it's like, bam, oh, wow. Like, they're losing, they're dying. Like, they're not this huge force. They just They had a lucky shot. They
Rebels
won,
got
but
the first one. Now there's the
Yes.
counterpunch with the Empire, and they're showing huge force
Yep.
of coming back. So it's
yeah,
great
and
to
Darth
see.
Vader gets into the base and is getting pretty close to them. They're thinking, "Oh man, he's going to destroy them," and they
Take
get out
off
just in the nick of
right
time.
at the-
Luke takes off in his X-wing and he goes with R2, and he's basically not meeting with them,
Yeah,
meeting
he's
up
like,
with them.
no, I'm
He's
not
going
meeting
off.
with them. I'm going off to the
Dagobah.
Dagobah system.
Yeah.
To meet with someone, find someone.
So yeah, we get cut over to. So this is again. Okay, so this is going to jump around. Several bounty hunters summoned by Vader assist in finding the Falcon. That's all it says there. Meanwhile, Luke travels with R2-D2 and his X-wing fighter to a swamp planet of Dagobah, where he crash lands. He meets a diminutive creature who reveals himself to be Yoda. After conferring with Obi-Wan's spirit, Yoda reluctantly accepts Luke as his student. Luke learns more about the Force from Yoda, and the Jedi Master lifts his X-wing out of the swamp. So the Leia and Han and all of them end up trying to get away from the Empire. They decide to hide on an asteroid because they would never look on an asteroid, right?
Correct.
So they go into a cave that they find in an asteroid in order to dodge some incoming TIE fighters and whatnot. And little do they know they land inside the mouth of a space
creature,
worm.
yeah,
You know,
some huge crater worm.
So he's in there, and so they have this scene there, whatever. Yeah, they share a kiss, and there's a lot of back and forth, and like, I hate you. That kind of.
I hope I
funny,
see you when
yeah.
when something goes wrong.
Yeah, funny stuff. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
It's
it's like
80s now. It's different.
The junior kindergarten. I have a crush on you, but I'm gonna.
You make me so angry.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit you instead of showing my affection. I'm gonna make fun of you and like be mean to you kind of attitude.
We know there's a strong-willed Princess Leia. In fact, when they're running during the attack and they're leaving, and he says something about like having a kiss or wanting a kiss, and then she like storms off. He's like, I could use a good kiss, and he's like running down there. Like it's just funny. It's that campy, fun stuff, but I think it just fits. That's his character, and it's just great.
Yeah.
So there they are in the crater, and then so eventually they realize that they're inside the worm. When they get outside, there's like Minox in there. And so Han shoots the floor because the floor feels weird, and then everything moves, and he's like, "Oh, this isn't an asteroid. This
Everyone
is like,
get in, yeah.
get in. We gotta get out."
Yeah.
So they escape just in time, and so they head off.
Sarlacc, isn't it? Yeah.
Is it Sarlacc? No,
Sarlacc.
Sarlacc Pit is the thing in the sand. Yeah, but
the next one.
yeah, we'll find it.
Sorry.
So anyway, so they have their moment, and they fly off, and their plan is to meet up with. I'm trying to remember here. No, they end up hiding on an Imperial ship, right? So he
goes
right.
underneath, and then
He
the
hides
idea
there.
is when they dump the trash before going
Yes,
into
that's when they
he's
escape.
gonna
So they're hiding there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on Dagobah, so Luke meets this crazy creature who literally seems insane.
Trying to
And
steal his food.
get away from here, you crazy little creature, whatever. And little, it's Yoda. This is the super Jedi Master. That's a crazy guy. And so, Yoda's having fun with him, testing him, I guess. And then Obi-Wan speaks to him, and he's like, he's not ready.
Yeah.
They have this conversation. He's like, "Oh, I'm ready. You're Yoda. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's become a Jedi." And he's like, "No, like you don't get what it's about. It's not just superpowers. It's like there's more to that. There's like a responsibility and all that kind of stuff."
Changed his attitude as soon as he found out it was Yoda.
Absolutely,
But
night and day.
I like seeing the the old Obi-Wan come up as the Spirit Ghost.
Yeah,
and
Force Ghost. Yeah.
Force Ghost, and be able to see him talking back and forth with Yoda, being he is the one.
Yeah.
I have to train him.
Yeah, it's like, hasn't this conversation happened before? We're talking about Anakin.
Yeah.
He's like, he's not the one. Yes, he is. So anyway, so they have their moments, some funny moments there, and Luke not wanting to listen to him, but having to do some training and whatnot, and getting frustrated with it.
Yeah.
Trying to do balancing and losing concentration, and then X-wing.
It's too heavy. It's too big.
Yeah, it's impossible. And he's like, "Look, you judge me by
Size
my
don't
size,
matter.
do you? Like I'm small, but you can do it." And so he's like, "Just do it." So Luke starts to do it. He starts to lift it, and Yoda's like, "Oh, he's doing it," and then he fails. And he's like, "Man, I can't do it. It's impossible." He's like, "That's why you failed." Like he's like,
You think it's
yeah. And so then Yoda just comes and just takes care of business, man.
Yeah.
And you can tell he uses up his energy because afterwards he's like just spent. He's an really old guy now, but he did it, and he's just like, listen, man, like there's a lot more here. That's not just about power and strength. There's a lot more that you're not understanding. So it's really cool. We got this like, what would you call it, Karate Kid, master apprentice thing going on, and have his weird training exercises, but just they're for a purpose.
Yeah.
So after evading the Imperial fleet, Han escapes, obviously in the trash, decides to head off to Cloud City, where one of his old acquaintances or friends, Lando Calrissian, resides.
Yeah.
It's on the gas planet of Bespin. It's run by Han's old friend Lando. Unbeknownst to the group, the bounty hunter Boba Fett has tracked the Falcon. Shortly after their arrival, Lando betrays the group to Darth Vader, who plans to use the group as bait to lure out Luke, intending to capture him and turn him to the dark side. Luke experiences a premonition of Han and Leia in pain while back on Dagobah, and against the wishes of Yoda and Obi-Wan, abandons his training to go rescue them. Now that doesn't happen until after he sees the cave, and he goes in and he has this moment where he hears something and he feels a presence, and he's like, "What's in there?" And Yoda says,
only what
you bring with you, whatever. Like, what's in there? It's only what you bring with you. Like your hate, whatever you bring in is what you're gonna get. And so he decides to bring his lightsaber. And he's like, "You don't need that." Yeah,
so he keeps it anyways.
Yeah, he's like, "I'm gonna take it with me." And sure enough, he goes in, and Darth Vader seems to appear. He starts fighting Darth Vader. He seems like fighting for his life. Knocks his helmet off, cuts his head off, and the helmet explodes. And inside, you see Luke's face.
Yeah.
And so Luke sees himself in Darth Vader, and that's like an interesting.
I thought that was great.
It was
like,
great.
A great way of reminiscing. This could be your future.
Yeah.
If things
but
go right.
it also is like, this is you in the sense of your
past.
blood. Like, this is you, your heritage. Like, this is, you're connected. Like,
and he doesn't know that.
He doesn't get that. And it's really smart. But let's stop there. What do you guys think so far? Like, the Dagobah stuff, the Bounty Hunter stuff.
So the Dagobah stuff I found a little bit slow. They could have, sped it up or made, it more relevant, other than him doing flips with Yoda on his back and different.
They just wanted to show like he's here for a while. He's not here for a day or two. He's here for a while. Like, yeah, that's what they're trying to get out.
So I found that they that felt filler like to me, but other than that, I thought it was a great story so far. The battle. They retreat. They all go, different areas. Han can't get away, so this is their situation that they're in. And then Luke, saying, they'll be fine. I'm going my own way to do what I need to do with my training, and meet the person that I'm seeking. So,
and the reason they're going to Bespin is because he needs to repair the hyperdrive.
Correct.
Because he can't get away, so he's like,
so he's dead. Dead in the water.
So so that's there. Before I jump forward. I thought it was interesting that like Obi-Wan had mentioned. I'm trying to remember if it's in episode 5. He had mentioned some things to Luke mysteriously. Obviously, this is not when he talks about his father. It's episode 6, but they make mention about something. Did they make mention of there is another? Yes. When he takes off.
When he takes
off.
He's
our last chance. Obi-Wan's like, that's our last chance, and Yoda's like, no, there is another. Which is weird because again, at the time, it's like, well, they were both Yoda and Obi-Wan were together, knowing that they were twins up there.
Yeah.
And for Obi-Wan to say like, "Oh, he's our last chance," and Yoda's like, "No, there's another." Like, hello, there's.
But maybe they thought that only he could have the force.
Maybe only he could have the force, or he's the one that's trained. Like she's not trained.
Yeah, they don't feel it in her, maybe, but she does.
Or is Yoda saying, with what to do now? He's saying there's another, like there's someone coming in the future that's going to be the next hero.
Maybe
like
not even a Skywalker.
Maybe not a Skywalker. We'll have to see how that plays out. So. So he goes off. He sees them in pain. And his vision, I guess, is basically them being tortured by Vader or Boba Fett and what's kind of going on down in Cloud City. So he takes off to go save them. Everyone begs him not to go. He needs to stay and train. And he's like, my friends, my friends are important. I got to do this.
He says, I promise I'll come back to finish my training when
I'm done.
Finish this.
Yeah. So all right. So he takes off. And Yoda even gives him a cautionary tale of like beware of the dark side and stuff like that, right? Like because he's like worried that he's not fully trained, he's susceptible to like falling. Yeah. Okay, so after invading the Imperial fleet, we see Han goes there. Boba Fett chases them out. Okay, and so his plan to lure out Luke is so that he can capture him and turn him to the dark side. Luke experiences a premonition. We know that he goes off to meet them, and intending to hold Luke in a suspended animation by imprisoning him in carbonite. Vader selects Han Solo to be frozen as a test subject to make sure that Luke won't die in the process. So Han survives.
He's the guinea pig.
Han survives the process and is given to Fett, who plans to collect the bounty on him from Jabba the Hutt. So he loads him into a ship and takes off. Lando, experiencing a change of heart finally, frees Leia and Chewbacca, but they are too late to stop Fett from departing with Solo aboard. And while this happens, they fight their way back to the Falcon and flee the city. Meanwhile, Luke arrives and engages Vader in a lightsaber duel that leads them over in the city's central air shaft. Vader severs Luke's right hand, disarming him, and attempts him to join the dark side. Luke accuses Vader of murdering his father, but Vader reveals that he is Luke's father. Disbelieving, Luke drops into the air shaft and is ejected beneath the floating city, where he hangs from an antenna. He reaches out telepathically through the Force to Leia, who senses him and persuades Lando and Chewie to turn back. After Luke is brought aboard, they are chased by TIE fighters towards Vader on his Star Destroyer. But R2-D2 reactivates the Falcon's hyperdrive just in the nick of time, allowing them to escape. Rejoined with the Rebel fleet, Luke's severed hand is replaced with a robotic hand. Lando and Chewie depart in the Falcon in order to save Han. Roll credits. So the fight scene is a lot more interesting than it has shown here. So let's kind of jump into that. So Luke arrives. We have Han being betrayed by Lando. Lando was pretty much forced to do so. He didn't want to. He feels remorse for it after the fact. He thought it was best for his city because he was pretty much threatened that everyone's going to die. Yeah. If he doesn't do what the Empire says, they're going to kill everyone. And knowing what the Death Star can do, he's not going to be, I'm sure he's not thinking that they'll have other weapons to do that, right? So he's like, I have to worry about myself and my people. I'm a leader of the city now. So he betrays them. And of course, he has that famous line, this deal's getting worse all the time. When Darth Vader says, I've altered the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further. There's a funny Robot Chicken sketch about that. So they have this moment, when the door opens and Darth Vader's sitting in there with Boba Fett and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh. And Darth Vader just boom, 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 absorbs the bullets and then
takes his gun.
Takes the gun. I'm like, whoa, that's pretty bad. Like just the bullets going right into his hand. Just...
So I saw some behind the scene footage and the amount it takes that he's wearing a mask, right? So some stunt guy's throwing the gun to him and he's trying to catch it in that scene. And the amount of times he's trying to catch it, I felt bad for the guy.
That's amazing.
But that's not the only reason I felt bad for him, though. But because Vader really got,
David Prowse?
Yeah. He got screwed
over. He didn't get his voice. He didn't get anything. His face. Because that's the one thing. He's like, finally, the helmet's going to come off. And like, nope, we need someone else. It's like, what? So it's like, literally, I'm just a walking carpet. Like, I'm just a walking shadow of a body. Like, it's just there.
So I felt bad for him. But, the battle severs the arm.
Yep.
Very reminiscent of Anakin.
Cool battle.
His arm severed earlier.
Yes.
And his son getting by his father unknowingly.
Absolutely. But isn't it cool, like he's toying with him. You can see he's toying with him. He's like leading him, and then like pushes him in, pulls the switch, and then Luke jumps out using the force jump, just flies out of there. And it's just like Darth Vader I can destroy you, but I don't want to kill you. There's a reason I'm trying to capture you. So you can see him toying with him, and even when he escapes, and then they're out in before they get to the air shaft in the room, and he's just throwing boxes at him, and Luke's just like smack, and he gets hit in the back, and I'm like, you can just see the difference of like fully trained guy and like just this kid trying to like do my best. The fight scene was funny. I thought he was using as much effort as he could to like just come at him, and it's like, I'm not fully trained, but I'm gonna do everything I can to come at you. And he did a good job, but you could tell Vader was not using his full strength.
Like
he was
Vader
just like,
get taking it easy because he had a different
this
purpose.
is my son. I'm not gonna kill you, but like you're annoying me. And then so easily, and then by hand, and then Luke's just like inching away, and like, gonna get away from you because I have nothing to defend myself. And just that line, man. He's like, no, I'm your father.
Well, it's the most misquoted line. Luke,
correct.
I am your father.
Yeah, he doesn't say Luke.
He doesn't say Luke, I am your father.
He doesn't say that. He says no.
Yeah,
I am your father.
I am your father. You killed my... No, I am your father.
Yeah.
Search your feelings. You know this to be true.
Yeah, it's great.
And so I was like, oh man, because someone
said, no, it's impossible.
Yeah. But the original line, so the actors actually said something different. So Luke said the same, Mark Hamill said the same lines, but they dubbed over the voice with Earl Jones.
Yes.
So it was supposed to be like, yes, I killed your father. And he's like, no. So no one knew that they changed the line to, no, I am your father.
Correct.
Until they saw.
Yeah, that was a surprise. Even the actors were going like, because like they didn't have episode 6 ready to go. So even Luke was like, what?
So all the actors and actresses were like, what?
That's why his reaction was so like angry and cold, and not like, and then he says, search your feelings, know it to be true. And he's like, no, that's impossible.
Yeah,
and he's like,
I thought it was so cool that.
But
even
maybe
George
Luke.
Lucas wanted
but then those
it.
lines from to use, if he says, "No, I killed your father," and then from to say, "No, no, that's impossible," what was he referring to then? I don't know. It seems weird, but maybe he's like, "Join me, and you'll become stronger." No, it's impossible. I don't know, but it was pretty.
But they changed it around so that no one really knew, and
very
it
smart.
had the very surprise of everyone.
Yeah,
which was great.
And
there's no leaks that way either.
No.
So it didn't get leaked. Unless you're that second guy in line where the guy came out and said, I can't believe his father.
And was like, what?
Yeah.
We're like, I can't believe Han died. It's like, what? Anyway.
All I could think of is a Simpsons skit where Homer comes, I can't believe Vader's Luke's father. Like, thanks, guy. Thanks, buddy. I just waited in line 4 hours for that.
So that's great.
Yeah.
So, so we got this cool scene with him and the bounty hunters. You get to see all these mysterious guys there, different creatures, different guns, and they're all looking like, oh man, these guys are going to destroy. And then Boba Fett's the only one who manages to track him down.
Yeah.
You don't see the other guys attempt it.
Yeah.
They kind of, I guess they all go their own separate ways to find him, and Boba Fett's the only one that's able to track him and bring him in. Boba Fett looks pretty cool, menacing there.
I always wanted to be him as as a Halloween costume.
Yeah.
Star Wars was always good. I wanted a lightsaber. I wanted the helmets of all the characters because I was always into helmets and stuff like that, and the costumes, and just I was like, I want all of this, and I want to be a part of this, and the ships and everything, and that's what also drew me in because I had all those interests, and I wanted to be a part of all those things, or be that in real life.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, this could be me one day as a young kid. So that helped with the lore of Star Wars for myself. But that helmet's just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And then what about he falls down, blah 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 blah, ends in the chute, gets out, he's in the antenna, and then he reaches out to Leia. So he knows that Vader's his father, and somehow he reaches out, but he doesn't just reach out to like anyone who can hear me. He reaches out to Leia as if he knows that she's force sensitive. Again, maybe it's through training, maybe it's through one of his personal powers. He can just feel the connection or whatever. And he reaches out to Leia, and he doesn't know that it's her sister yet. He learns that in Jedi, but he reaches out to her, and she kind of like picks up on it. And it's funny because in future movies that we'll discuss, people are really upset. Leia's not trained. How can she have force powers? And I'm like, well, again, if we go back to Bloodline, we go back to the midichlorians. She is just naturally strong. She has a strong affinity or attunement to the Force. She is not trained. She's not a Jedi, but it doesn't mean you have inherent powers that you just awaken or just available. You might not be able to control it, but they're there. So I was cool with that. Like he reached out to her and she's like, "Oh, we gotta go back. Like Luke's there. Like I just have this feeling. It's something weird inside me." People have that all the time nowadays, where they have these weird feelings of stuff and you can't explain it. I don't see that being any illogical. And considering Anakin was as powerful as he was, and these are the direct children of him, I think that's believable. Your thoughts on that? Any issues with that? No. With her hearing him and reaching out and connecting and finding him?
No, I agree. I mean, she hasn't been officially trained as a Jedi or anything, but she's always had the capability. She has the bloodline. She has the history of it, and not everyone that has the Force is a Jedi.
Yeah. Like, I mean, look at if you go back to Anakin as a pod racer, right? He wasn't trained yet. Exactly. He's like, you have Jedi reflexes. You have this. You're using the Force without realizing you're using it. It's just part of you, right? It's the same idea. Like, oh, someone's calling for you. Just somehow feel them. It's just a connection that you have. And before he was fully trained in Episode 4, and he's like, use the Force to do the bullets. Like, he just did it. It was just it was like instinct, right?
Yeah.
So I was cool with that. I had no issue with that. Overall, I thought the movie was great. We got to see some new characters, some new cities. Floating city in the sky was pretty cool. Yeah. Landed with a little cape. You notice they have some weird history. Again, looking back at Solo and looking at this, it's cool that like, okay, that's the history. He's like, oh, you swindler. And he's about to punch him and give him a hug. And I'm like, that's the relationship they had. They had kind of like, I hate you, but I kind of like you kind of thing.
I respect you. Yeah, we're both scoundrel kind of.
He's like, it's my Millennium Falcon. It's great. So, yeah, I loved it all. I thought it was awesome. C-3PO, it's a moments. He goes into a room, gets this dismembered. Chewbacca gets him, tries to put him together. Some funny moments there. And then our R2-D2 trying to fix him back. And just funny moments just throughout, levity. And I thought it was great. I thought there was a good balance from like action, some lighthearted moments. We had to see a little bit more of the mystery of the Force and the Jedi and kind of what they're about. And then this crazy reveal of Darth Vader being the father.
Yeah, that was huge. Like, that's probably why it's revered as one of the best, because that's where it's revealed that he is his father. This is, you were lied to. It
was a shock. Like, whoa! Didn't see this coming.
Obi-Wan didn't tell you. No. I didn't kill your father. I am your father.
People left with so many questions. Like, well, yeah, like did Obi-Wan know like what's going on here? And then the whole like again because it ended on a cliffhanger. Han's gone, so some of them are going off to find Han. Luke's going off over like everyone's like going their own ways. Luke's got a robot hand. Like what's going on with that? And then him and Leia are there, and then it's just like mind blown kind of thing ending. Like this is how it's ending. Like there's no more. Like it definitely has. It's interesting, but it definitely doesn't have that ending that's like, okay, I'm done. That's a good story. No, the story doesn't end.
It's not a standalone for sure. They knew that they were going into the
they definitely left it purposely. Like, we're setting a lot of stuff up. Here are the threads. We got Boba Fett. We got Han. We got Luke and Vader got to deal with it. We've got Leia's got connection to the Force. What's that about? Because people don't know that they're brother and sister yet. They don't find that out that she's related. They just know that she's a princess. So they all find out. So there's a lot of cool things going on. Overall, great movie. Enjoyable. Good action scenes. Different tone. Thumbs up for me.
Yeah, I liked it. I'm a big fan of vehicles and ships and stuff like that. So we got the Slave One, which was awesome to see.
Oh yeah, didn't mention that. That's right. Really cool ship. Yeah, it flies and lands and just really cool.
The AT-ATs, obviously, ATSTs, battles on Hoth. Yeah, like it's just I thought they did a really good job. Sorry. I thought they did a really good job with it. I didn't feel like anything was really that slow. I know that the training in Dagobah, I didn't have a problem with that one in terms of how long it was or anything like that. It showed that, you know, he had to get trained and it takes time to do that, and it had a purpose of what they're trying to accomplish with it.
Yeah.
Just a little more experience, and then they go. But and then it also showed that he cared about his friends as well. So he's like, "Oh yeah, I gotta go help them out." But yeah, I enjoyed the movie. The storyline, everything seemed to fit for me.
Nice. I guess it felt like a middle movie because they left a lot of things open, which is what a middle movie is supposed to do. I love the introduction of, you know, really seeing more Boba Fett and how smart he was, and that why he was one of the most revered bounty hunters out there, and why he was one of the best. He was the only one that was able to, you know, follow the tracks and get Han Solo and everyone.
Hunt his bounty, yeah.
Exactly. So, you know, that was great. Seeing the AT-ATs, I loved. So yeah, I enjoyed the movie. I mean, it was a good movie. Not a standalone, not something that you could just watch. Like I couldn't just pick it up and say, "I'll just watch this movie." But overall, I found it pretty good.
Okay. You're good, right?
Yep.
So plot overall, I thought this was the first one that the plot was a little bit, kind of not straightforward, but kind of like I wouldn't say all over the place, but there's a lot of it's setting up a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
To be fair, right? So if we're going through it, it's like we start the movie with we start the movie with Hoth, which is a great start. War, where we picked off, there's a war going on, and you know the Imperial finding them and all that kind of stuff, and then we kind of go off to separate ways. And then we got Luke's got to be trained to be a Jedi, really cool. We get some background about what that's about.
Yeah.
We have the other guys trying to escape the Empire, and then and literally because they have a broken hyperdrive, find their way to Cloud City, and they're kind of captured and being used by another thing, and Darth Vader decides to use that as his advantage to use them to lure Luke out. But so are we gonna assume that Boba Fett followed them there, called Vader there on Cloud City, and then Vader arrived before they arrived? Because they made it sound like when they got there and Lando's there and he kind of gives them a hug, and then they walk in and then C-3PO wanders off, the Stormtroopers are already there. So that would mean that they have already arrived before the Millennium Falcon arrived. Boba Fett was following them in. How would they know that they were like? How could the Empire already be there? Knowing
maybe Boba Fett knew that.
That's where they were heading.
Closest, you know.
Like, by the way, I found them. They're heading towards this, and then we're gonna get there and land there and make a deal with Lando before they arrive. Like that just to me seemed a little too convenient. Not a big deal, but a little too like. If they arrived after, like, hey, buddy, blah, 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 they're talking, they arrive, oh, I got a meeting, blah, 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 and then he gets threatened, and then things pick up, that's one thing, but it just, 3PO, they were already there, and they already had this stranglehold, and like, you're going to meet him, you're going to bring him in, and you're going to capture him, and that's kind of what was going on. It was what it was, but still, I thought it was great, and then again, it ends with like, okay, so we got Lando and Chewie going off to save Han, we got Luke here with his new hand, he's going to have to go back and train, and just a lot of things kind of going on. It got the main point across. The main point, I guess, was for Vader to let Luke know that he's his father and he's his son, and that he wants him to get in there.
And that those two together can take over, defeat the Empire.
Yes. And
take over and rule themselves.
And so that point did come across, but there was a lot of stuff that happened that I guess didn't need to happen, but kind of happened out of convenience. Like, so Han being captured, didn't capture, wouldn't have affected that anyway. He could have just found out where he was, come down and met Luke, but they used him as a plot point to bring Luke there, which is fine, because Luke wasn't hiding. He was the Yoda. They don't know where Yoda is, right? He's off somewhere. We got to see a little bit about the Jedi. A lot of questions about what was the Darth Vader thing, why was his face there, like a lot of weird stuff going on there. Again, no answers yet. We can always discuss that. You know, was that just like a force premonition? Was that this cave? And we know from the Clone Wars that this cave has significance. Is there like is it supposed to just show, because it's inherently a dark high, there's darkness there, that it like brings out the darkness in you, and it's that warning of like, are you going to succumb to the dark side or are you not? Almost every prequel has this, every set of trilogies has this mystery. We have that in the new trilogy, we have that in this with the cave, and then we have it in the prequels with some premonitions, dreams and premonitions and stuff. So there's just different things that it's cool. I thought it was awesome. Movie was great, but I kind of felt like the plot wasn't completely like Episode 4 and a lot of the other movies were just we need to get here to here, and everything made sense and everything was cohesive.
Which is why I think I feel it kind of as a filler. Movie.
Yes. Still a good movie.
Yeah, I still enjoyed it, but I just felt between all the other movies, and especially in this trilogy, we'll find out in my rankings, but
All right.
we'll see where it
So
lands.
script dialogue. I thought this had some great lines.
Yeah.
Such quotable lines. For quotable lines in Star Wars, this has a lot of them.
Mhm.
You got Yoda lines, you got Darth Vader lines, you have Lando lines. There's just so many funny moments.
I think they let
Han and Leia.
a lot of them ad-lib it at times.
It must have
because they
been.
have a lot of good actors and
Yes.
actresses that can, like Ford, like all these guys are good actors that, especially Ford, he can just ad-lib and make, little snarky comments that he probably thinks in his head that he would say in real life.
They're more
And,
settled into the role now.
and be
They've done a movie.
well, I'll say this one now. This is my character. This is what he would really say, not what's written in the script kind of thing, and take it as their own characters, which is nice. But I thought it was maybe not well written, but well presented, and the lines were well done. So I enjoyed it.
It's awesome.
There's no those cheesy one-liners. I mean, maybe I love you. I know.
But that's classic.
I love it.
And that's a Han
And
thing,
that was-
man.
that
That
was-
is Han.
that was
It's like,
ad-libbed.
he's like, I know. Like,
Cause,
because he wasn't supposed to say that.
he was supposed to say something
I love
else,
you
and
too,
they're
or
like,
whatever.
"Yes."
And he's like,
Yeah.
I know. And then it's to leave it. Like, that's a Han
Yeah.
Solo thing. And it's so memorable. It's like, that's so cool. And then, of course,
And she
Leia does
says
it
back
separately.
in the
Yeah,
next
different.
movie.
And that's cool. Like, it's funny. And it's cute. And it's a Star Wars
I
thing.
loved it.
Yeah.
Perfect. So, yeah, overall, funny moments. Like, we're going to test it on Han. He's
Yeah.
like, what?
I won't
But
get my bounty.
I won't get it. Don't destroy it. He's like, don't worry about it.
I'll
Like,
pay you.
and he's talking to Darth Vader. It's like, you can't destroy it. And Darth Vader's like, don't worry about it. Like, I can cut you in half. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, he's like, you'll get your money either way. Either I
like, I'll pay
or
you. Like,
Jabba
don't
will.
worry about it. All right.
Yeah, I'll double your fee.
So you're only here for the money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great. Villain, Darth Vader, clearly.
Yeah.
Head to toe. We had an Emperor moment. I think they had touched base in... Was it in 4 where we first kind of see him with Vader? Where they kind of meet up for a bit in 4?
I think a hologram.
Oh, hologram only.
Yeah.
And then was it in this one where he first steps off and they meet him? I can't
Does he
remember.
step off at the end from his shuttle?
I don't remember. I thought it was in space when they first meet him. I know in episode 6 he's there for the movie,
Yeah.
but anyway. But yeah, this is all about Vader. Vader's the villain, hands down. Yeah, Boba Fett's there. There's the bounty hunters, but I mean, he's not the villain. He's there as a plot point.
Yeah.
In order to, he's there to pick up a bounty. He tracks them so that the Empire can find where they are. They use it to get Luke, and then he takes them to Jabba for a payment. That's literally what. So he's not really a villain, other than he's an imposing threat. Vader is the true villain, and I think phenomenal. Again, scary Vader comes in, he fights lightsaber, he's throwing the Force, cuts his hand off. I'm your father. Just like, whoa, like this is even in the beginning when he comes in, he's tearing through the Hoth base. Like, yeah, cool villain.
Yeah, and even
Good
his
job.
look and just his mannerisms,
Presence.
Everyone who watches this movie can feel him as like one of the original bad guys.
Oh yeah.
If you're going to base a bad guy character off, this is one that you would draw from to create your own.
Okay, and CG. Any issues?
I didn't
with
see
any of the stuff
anything
in?
too much that was like. I mean, Yoda
the
was
originals.
a puppet,
The originals were mostly
which is
practical.
great.
Yoda was a puppet. They didn't CG him in like
Yeah.
they did with Episode 1,
which I
where
liked.
He was a
He
puppet. and they
seemed
changed him.
realistic
Yeah.
enough and very well moved and everything. So he doesn't look. I didn't see any like cheesy CG or scenes that didn't need to be added
Unlike
or
Episode 4.
changed. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't think there was much that needed to be changed. And I don't think they did.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit more in the Wampa scene, a little bit of extra stuff there, but for the most part, it was
which
still
was kinda-
practical.
I
It was
liked
practical. It wasn't like CG'd in. So it
Just
looked good.
just to have it in.
Yeah,
agree
I
with
enjoyed it. So I mean, that's all the stuff we cover. So now I guess we get into the ranking. But overall, we all enjoyed it, right?
Yep.
We're all happy with it. Great
Definitely.
movie. Any issues you want to mention before we rank this? Any problems? Any things you didn't like? You weren't happy with? Decisions made that you thought should have been better? No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's
Yeah,
rank
yeah.
it. So, again, I think we're unanimous that this is better than episode. Okay, let me go through. So our rankings right now are in 6th place, episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Ranked number 5, episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Ranked 4, Solo: A Star Wars Story. Ranked 3, episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Ranked 2, Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. And in 1st place, episode 4, A New Hope. How many people feel this is better than episode 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Okay, is it better than Solo: A Star Wars Story?
I would say yes.
Is it better than episode 3, Revenge of the Sith?
Yes.
Is it better than Rogue One: A Star Wars Story? You don't feel that this is the case?
No.
Okay. Well, so that's where it lies. It's not, you can't rate it higher than 4. Oddly enough, though, I did like it a little bit more than episode 4. Personally. But I do feel like Rogue One was a better story. Again, this is all because it's all personal. It's all personal. It's all how you feel. It's going to be here in 3rd place. But I just thought it was there's a lot of cool things. I love the lightsaber fight way better than the episode 4 lightsaber fight. Yoda, the Force, a lot of this cool stuff, and that's for me. It was like, wow, that's what Empire really helped. When I saw episode 1 and I saw Darth Maul in the fighting, and then watching 5 and then 6, I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So for me, I liked it a little bit better than 4, from my personal taste.
So you would have done Rogue One,
I would
5, 4.
Yeah,
As your top
I mean,
three.
5 would definitely be. I could 5 is really up there with Rogue One, more so than 4. 4 is great though. Like I have no issue. I think I like 5 more than 4, but I don't see it as better than Rogue One necessarily. So it's all in there. It's all muddled, right?
Yeah, it's hard, right? They're all good.
It's
movies
very hard. It's very hard.
and well done, and especially when you're attached to it and
Oh, it's hard.
grew up with it. It's hard to
Empire
really
Strikes.
knock it down. So I'll take this opportunity.
Yes.
You will notice my shirt is the wrong movie. The last one
Last week.
was this movie.
Yeah.
So before any comments come, I'm gonna call myself out on it beforehand. So I'll beat you guys to it. But yeah, so I grabbed the wrong shirts.
All right. And with that being said, Nerds Talk officially has it ranked as follows. In first place, Episode 4, A New Hope. In second place, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. In ranked number 3, we have Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. In fourth place, we have Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. In fifth place, Solo, A Star Wars Story. In sixth, it's Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. And in seventh, we have Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Perfect. And we're good to go there. And with that, what do you think, folks, fans of Nerds Talk? Let us know in the comments below. List your ranking where you feel that this movie deserves to be. Did you agree or disagree with how we felt about the various moments in Star Wars? Did we miss anything that was really important to you that we didn't discuss? Please let us know. If you'd like us to discuss other movies down the road or other topics, please shoot us an email at nerdstalkinfo@gmail.com. If you'd like to reach out to us on social media, we are available at Twitter and Instagram at TalkNerds. And if you'd like to reach us on Facebook, we're at facebook.com/Nerds Talk Canada. And with that being said, as always, folks, stay nerdy.